Hello scholars, today I'm going to do a little video on CommonLit, which is a tool that we're using to boost your reading power. So let's get started. You might get an email from me or in your Google Drive I'll send you a link that you see here, and this link is going to take us directly to where we need to go. So I'm going to click on it. All right, so here we've got our login page, and this is where you're going to put in your username and password that you set up. And then what you're going to see, there's a little thing that says signed in successfully. This is a 4th grade reading passage. You may be in this level or you may be higher, but this is just an example that I'm using to kind of show you some of the things that you have available to use on CommonLit. So this particular reading assignment is on The Tale of Peter Rabbit. And so you'll get a little box that pops up and tells you a little bit about the story, the author, and really this is a fiction story. But there are a lot of different resources on CommonLit. There are articles, there are poems, there are opinion pieces. So sometimes you'll get one assignment in CommonLit, or sometimes you'll get several that tie in together, and there are different types of articles or stories. They all tie in together. Okay, so then you'll just click got it. Now up here is a little notification. If you have an assignment from me, it's going to tell you this is what you need to do. So I'm going to click on this. You have one assignment to submit. Complete the Tale of Peter Rabbit. That's this assignment. Okay, so we're going to go through this assignment. So right here, I just want to show you, these are some of your questions that you're going to have to answer. Eventually, you'll answer them. Now what I want you to see is I usually turn on guided reading, which means you'll read a little bit, and then you'll get this little button here that says Q1, which stands for question 1. And you won't be able to read past that. It's all blurred out until you finish this first section. Up here, so I want to show you, up here you've got, if you want to look up a word, all you need to do is click on, highlight it with your cursor, and then click on the dictionary, and it will tell you, it'll give you some different definitions for that word. Another cool tool is the highlight. It'll highlight certain texts for you if you want to remember them. And then if reading is a little bit hard for you and you're still kind of having an issue with just following the words on the page, we also have this text to read aloud to you. And it's a computery voice, but I'll play it for you so you can hear. Okay, so there you go. That's a little sample of how the text to speech function works. So if you just want to play and listen and read along, that's there for you. And then you can push the square stop to read aloud. And then I don't think you have to use translate, but if you wanted to translate to a different language, you could. Once upon a time, we'll just do once upon a time, and we'll translate it. It didn't give us an option to do that. So, and there you go. So we can remove the highlights this way by this little broom here. And we want to remove all highlights. Yes, we do. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to read through this really quickly, and then we're going to answer this question so I can show you how it will unlock. So, once upon a time, there were 4 little rabbits, and their names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived with their mother in a sandbank underneath the root of a very big fir tree. "Now, my dears," said old Mrs. Rabbit one morning, "you may go into the fields or down the lane, but don't go into Mr. McGregor's garden. Your father had an accident there, and he was put in a pie by Mrs. McGregor. Now run along and don't get into mischief. I am going out." Then old Mrs. Rabbit took a basket and her umbrella to the baker's. She brought a loaf of brown bread and 5 currant buns. So I want you to notice these little numbers here. If you click on them, it'll give you the definition for the word that comes before it. So mischief might be a word that you don't know, and you could click on that and find out playful misbehavior or troublemaking. And then right here, 5 currant buns. I don't know, have you ever heard of the word currant? Well, let's find out. A currant is a small dried fruit. So as you can see, we can't read anymore because we need to answer this question. So this is our first question right here. Mrs. Rabbit warns her children, A, not to go near the forest, but to stay in the fields. B, not to go near Mr. McGregor's garden. C, not to look for their father who was in Mr. McGregor's garden. Or D, not to get into mischief when they are at the baker's. And I'm just going to check something really quick. I think so there you can see that if you want to highlight that, any text you just want, if you don't want all of it read, you can highlight whatever you want them to read and they'll read it for you. So we know that Mrs. Rabbit warned her children to not go near Mr. McGregor's garden. So we're going to click B. And when you do the question, you get a star and it opens up the rest of the story so you can continue reading. So those are just some of the features that you're going to find in CommonLit, and I just wanted to show them to you so that you weren't confused whenever I assigned you something and you didn't know what to do. If you have any questions, you can always email me and I'll be happy to help. Thanks, guys. Have a good day. Bye.